and the prize days. Besides, the whole school seemed so strange and solemn. And no, it was not just M. Hamel or his appearance that looked strange to Franz. It was also the entire school and the atmosphere that was strange. Because it was so serious, it was so silent all of a sudden. Solemn mane hoise very serious. But the thing that surprised me most was to see on the back benches that were always empty the village people sitting quietly like ourselves. Old Hauser, with his three-cornered hat, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others besides. So, so what's this strange thing ki asle Franzo Karna out of all these strange things that he had noticed in the school that day? It was the back benches of the classroom jibur ene empty hoi thake. Kintu hednakhon occupied hoi asil with the village people, the elderly members of the village sitting there. The Hauser with his three-cornered hat, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and many others. Everybody looked sad, and Hauser had brought an old primer. Old primer mane hoise ekhon elementary book. Ekhon old primer boli koy. And this is symbolic. Why symbolic? Because maybe the elderly people were also left with a realization that day, and they understood that all these years they have neglected French, they have neglected French lessons. But today, when the order has come that they will not be allowed to learn French anymore, they will not be allowed to teach French anymore, the next day, Tetya, Teoluke to realize Kurse, and they were actually very sad, and they were left with the sad realization that wish they had taken French classes seriously when they had the opportunity. And so, maybe because of that, they wanted to learn all they could, learn about French, learn about their language, all that was possible in that single day. That's why that old Hauser had brought an old primer, thumbed at the edges, and he held it open on his knees with his great spectacles lying across the pages. And this moment was symbolic because it shows the realization, the regret of the elderly members of the society of the villages because they had neglected French classes and the language so far. While I was wondering about it all, M. Hamel mounted his chair and, in the same grave and gentle tone which he had used to me, said, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. The order has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine." And this was the revelation, the moment of revelation for little Franz, because until that moment he was not aware of what was going on and why that strangeness, that sudden change has come about in the school. তেতিয়ালৈকে ফ্ৰান্সে গম পোৱা নাছিলে that কি হৈছে actually, that ইমান strange হৈ গৈছে school atmosphere to সব মানুহ present আছে classroomত, including the elderly people with their primer, and the changed attitude of M. Hamel towards his students and the sadness on their faces. And finally, he গম পালে কি হৈছে. When M. Hamel, he announced to the students that order ahise, the German language would be taught in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine from the next day onwards, and French lessons would not be allowed in the schools anymore. The new master comes tomorrow, and so German pohabole notun master ahibo, notun teacher ahibo, and for that M. Hamel was supposed to leave that place. This is your last French lesson. I want you to be very attentive. And this is what he urged his students. What a thunderclap these words were to me. Thunderclap mane hoise, these words were very shocking to Franz. Oh, the wretches! There is an exclamation, যেতিয়া আমি দিওঁ when we are very sad, যেতিয়া আমি এটা bad news আমি গম পাওঁ, that is, oh, the wretches. That was what they had put up at the town hall. এতিয়া realize কৰিলে bulletin boardত actually কি notice display কৰা হৈছিলে. My last French lesson. Why? I hardly knew how to write. I should never learn any more. And এতিয়া France realized কৰিছে that Frenchৰ একো knowledge নাছিলে তাৰ. He didn't even know how to write. He knew very little about his own language. I must stop there then. Oh, how sorry I was for not learning my lessons, for seeking birds' eggs or going sliding on the Saar. Saar mane hoise river. So yat France recall কৰিছে সেই মোমেণ্টছবোৰ যেতিয়া সেই ফ্ৰেঞ্চ ক্লাছটো বাংক কৰি পেলাই গৈছিলে বাৰ্ডছৰ এগছবোৰ কালেক্ট কৰিবলৈ, or go sliding on the Saar. Saar is a river. My books that had seemed such a nuisance mane hoise je kiba eta irritating bostu. So until that moment Franzor karne French textbook kon irritating asle, it was a thing of nuisance to him. A while ago, so heavy to carry, my grammar and my history of the saints were old friends now that I couldn't give up. So etia Franzor karne he eki bostubur, the books on grammar, the books on history and French, he gutebur bostu iman valuable hoi goise that he thinks and he wonders that in no time, that is from the next day, these things will become his old friends. And Hamel too, the idea that he was going away, that I should never see him again, made me forget all about his ruler and how cranky he was. Cranky mane hoise jon easily irritated hoi jay hor bostur, and he had a strange attitude. So iman then Franz was looking at the negative side, the negative things associated with French classes, associated with grammar classes. But now, after this order had come, after he had understood what was the matter, etia Franz gom paise, and he was actually trying to recall everything that he had neglected so far, and he was filled with emotions, he was filled with remorse, he was filled with regret hoisil that iman dine neglect kori ahile, and eventually he will have to part his ways with French, the language, French history, French grammar, and also Hamel. Jijon teacher in Imandine cranky. So Imandine Franz bhabi ahisle about Hamel that he was a cranky person, and suddenly jetia he order to kotha gom pale tetia Franz realized korile that from the next day onwards he won't be even able to see Hamel. Poor man, it was in honor of this last lesson that he had put on his fine Sunday clothes, and now I understood why the old men of the village were sitting there in the back of the room. It was because they were very sorry too that they had not gone to school more. It was their way of thanking our master for his 40 years of faithful service and of showing their respect for the country that was theirs no more. So এটা গোটেই scenario to Franzor karne clear hoi goise. He understood kior karne Hamel নিজৰ best dress to pinhi loise, jetu Sunday pinhe ba special occasion on pinhe, of prize distribution or inspection, aru kior karne village or elderly members bor classroom to present ase, and he understood that it was their way of saying thanks to Hamel for serving in that school for over 40 years, and also showing their respect, paying a tribute to their country which was no more theirs. That is, they have lost the independence. While I was thinking of all this, I heard my name called. It was my turn to recite. What would I not have given to be able to say that dreadful rule for the participle all through, very loud and clear and without one mistake? So তেতিয়া Franz ভাবি আছিলে all throughout the class that এতিয়া মোৰ টাৰ্ণ আহিব এণ্ড এতিয়া মই ক'ব লাগিব the rule of participles. But I got mixed up on the first words and stood there holding on to my desk and my heart beating and not daring to look up. I heard M. Hamilton say to me, I won't scold you, little Franz. You must feel bad enough. See how it is. Every day we have said to ourselves, well, I have plenty of time. I'll learn it tomorrow. Now those fellows out there will have the right to say to you, how is it you pretend to be Frenchmen and yet you can neither speak nor write your own language? But you are not the worst, poor little Franz. We have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with. This paragraph is very important because ইয়াত আমি গম পাইছোঁ ফ্ৰান্সৰ মনত কি চলি আছিলে এণ্ড এতিয়া ফ্ৰান্সে ভাবিছে যে যদি মই পাৰ্টিচিপলছৰ ৰুলছখিনি পঢ়ি আহিলোঁ হয় যদি মই ক'ব পাৰিলোঁ হয় এম হেমেলক সেই কাৰেক্ট ৰুলছখিনি চ' ফ্ৰান্সে ছাডেনলি এইটো ভাবিলে ডেট যদি মই ৰুলছখিনি পঢ়ি আহিলোঁ হয় মই হেমেলক আজি লাষ্ট ডে দিনাখন গোটেইখিনি ৰুলছ ক'ব পাৰিলোঁ এটলিষ্ট এদিনৰ কাৰণে এণ্ড তেতিয়া যেতিয়া M. Hamel address কৰিছে ফ্ৰান্সক it was not to scold him and he mentions this clearly. He states that I'm not going to scold you. মই তোমাক খং কৰিব খোজা নাই because you are not the one who is only to blame. এই চিটুৱেশ্যনটোৰ কাৰণে আমি নিজেও ইকুৱেলি ৰেছপনচিবল হয় because কাইলৈ যেতিয়া আমাক সেই নিউ ৰুলাৰ্ছবিলাকে সুধিব that আমি নিজকে ক্লেইম কৰোঁ that we are Frenchmen but আমি নিজৰ লেংগুৱেজটোৱে ভালকৈ লিখিব নাজানো ক'ব নাজানো তেতিয়া we will have no answer তেতিয়া আমি কি বুলি ক'ম তেওঁলোকক but you are not the worst poor little France we have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with that is we are all equally to blame ইয়াত M. Hamele এটা বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট M. Hamele থ্ৰু দি পেলাই এলফন্স ডডেটে ট্ৰাই কৰিছে প্ৰজেক্ট কৰিবলৈ এটা bitter reality that যেতিয়ালৈকে মানুহৰ ওচৰত থাকে যেতিয়ালৈকে মানুহৰ কণ্ট্ৰল থাকে নিজৰ লাইফছৰ ওপৰত নিজৰ আইডেণ্টিটিৰ ওপৰত নিজৰ লেংগুৱেজৰ ওপৰত বিকজ লেংগুৱেজ ইজ অলৱেজ ভেৰি ভেৰি ইণ্ট্ৰিকেটলি কানেক্টেড উইথ আইডেণ্টিটি যেতিয়ালৈকে আমাৰ হাতত নিজৰ লেংগুৱেজ আছে নিজৰ আইডেণ্টিটি নিজৰ কণ্ট্ৰল আছে তেতিয়ালৈকে আমি সেইটোৰ ভেলিউ বুজি নাপাওঁ বাট ওৱান্স দ্য moment of crisis comes and যেতিয়া আমি এইটো গম পাওঁ that নাই next momentৰ পৰা we will not be the master of our own lives of ourselves তেতিয়া আমি realize কৰোঁ that আমাৰ যিখিনি বস্তু আছিলে আমি ইমান দিনে taken for granted ল'লোঁ আৰু ইয়াত exactly সেই চিটুৱেশ্যনটোৱে এলফন্স ডডেটে থ্ৰু M. Hamel দেখুৱাব ট্ৰাই কৰিছে that গোটেই elder members-খিনিও equally responsible and not just the kids like France because everyone had neglected their own language so far. Your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. They preferred to put you to work on a farm or at the mills so as to have little more money. So Yad Koi said that parents were equally responsible for sending their little children to fields for work and not to encourage them, not to motivate them to go to school instead. Tarpisot koise that in fact teachers like me, I am also to blame because have I not often sent you to water my flowers instead of learning your lessons? Yat Alphonse Dodete through M. Hamel, heikini teachers or kotha koise, jikini teachers class noloi pelai, beleg excuses di class to cancel korabo try kore. Kiba kibi excuse dibo janeke Yat koise in this short story, water my own flowers instead of learning your lessons, and when I wanted to go fishing, did I not just give you a holiday? That is everything we took for granted, the parents, the teachers, all included. Then from one thing to another, M. Hamel went on to talk of the French language. Or jetia he gotekhini factors or brought M. Hamele kole lastot M. Hamele kwa start korile on the French language and his opinion his reflections upon the French language is very important from exam point of view aru ami ekhini bhalke sabo lagibo ki M. Hameler opinion ki asile about the French language He considered it as the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical, that we must guard it among us and never forget it. Because when people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. And this is another important line. Our Edu through the Pelai authors on a try course, Edu পইণ্টৰ পৰা এমফাচাইজ কৰিবলৈ that যেতিয়া আমি নিজৰ লেংগুৱেজটো লৈ পেলাই প্ৰাউড ফিল কৰোঁ, যেতিয়া আমি নিজৰ লেংগুৱেজটো অনাৰ কৰোঁ, তেতিয়া যেনেকুৱা চিটুৱেশ্যনে নহওক বা যদি আমি আমাৰ লিবাৰ্টিও হেৰাই দিওঁ, our language can come to our rescue because through our language, by using our language, we can always feel united in the moment of crisis. আৰু সেইটোৱে হেমেলে কৈছে that French, according to him, is the most beautiful language in the world, logical language that we must guard it among us. আৰু এইখিনি মানে persuade কৰিছে মানুহখিনিক, that is, তেওঁলোকক request কৰিছে that we should protect our language, we should guard it among ourselves as long as, and never forget it, because when a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. আৰু যেতিয়ালৈকে তেওঁলোক enslaved হৈ আছে, it is only by safeguarding their language that তেওঁলোকে finally নিজৰ সেই prisonটোৰ পৰা keyটো বিচাৰি পাব. Then he opened the grammar and read us our lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. And this is very important because ইয়াত আমি গম পাইছোঁ that যেতিয়া আমাৰ সেই sense of loss to আহে, যেতিয়া আমি এইটো বস্তু realize কৰোঁ that something that was so dear to us, but আমি ইমান দিন realize নকৰিলোঁ, suddenly যেতিয়া আমি সেই বস্তু হেৰুৱাই দিম, everything connected to that particular thing becomes so clear and so interesting to us that we start to understand everything about it. So exactly সেইটোৱে হৈছিলে ফ্ৰান্সৰ লগত, that সেইদিনাখন ফ্ৰান্সে grammar classত যি বুজাইছিলে, everything he understood very clearly, and he was also quite amazed to see how easily and how well he understood everything. All he said seemed so easy, so very easy. I think too that I never had listened so carefully. And yet Franz নিজক কৈছে that maybe it was my mistake that I never paid attention to the classes like I'm paying attention to